All right, guys, what's going on? The long-awaited part has finally arrived. I finally received this guy right here in the mail. It's going to be my fuse holder. Came with a bunch of these stickers that you can label, whatever it is that you have wired into this. Refrigerator, radio, things like. I don't have any of that, so most of these are just going to be trash. But it doesn't matter. I can get a label maker and do that myself. So anyways, this holds 12 fuses. It took me forever to get this one because I couldn't find one coming out of this country that also had the grounds on it. So I had to order from China. It comes with a packet of fuses and this nice little cover here to keep everything nice and safe. The way this is gonna work is I have a bunch of relays here. This is basically going to go like that, not covered of course, and the terminals will go there. So I just need to go cut a piece of material to mount all this to, and then we can get to wiring. Okay, so the rest of my parts have finally come for this fuse box, relay panel, whatever you want to call it. I can finally get started on it. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. It's going to be it has 12 fuses. I'm going to have 10 relays hooked up to it, and then I have the option to hook a couple of items through the other two fuses that don't necessarily draw a ton of current, so they're not going to need a relay. Like the engine management system doesn't need a relay. It only takes a couple of amps, things like that. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's get it laid out, and once this is done, I can finally start wiring that car. So I'm just going to use this piece of aluminum I had laying around. I know people like to use things that don't conduct electricity, like ABS plastic or acrylic, Lexan, etc., etc. But I'm not real worried about stuff shorting out, so this is where I'm at. Essentially, this is going to go down here. I've got it kind of lined up. I got marks in the front and the back. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. Where the center of this is from side to side. This is basically going to sit here. This will sit here, and then I'll have this here, that there, and then everything's going to get all wired together with this nice little set of terminals I got off eBay for 10 bucks. So this whole thing is going to cost about $50 grand total, out the door, done. It's going to be real nice. I'm super excited. So see if I can mark a couple of holes here with this screw. Just make a mark on where I got to drill. Okay. Make it a little easier to see. It's about as square as we're gonna get, so it's gonna be mounted in a place where no one's really gonna see it anyway, so I'm not worried about how perfectly it looks. Awesome. I was hoping my drill bit would be dull as hell. Let's at least get another one started. Oops, now I'm walking. I don't have a center punch, so it's got to make do with what I have. At least it started. Let me see if I can find a better drill bit. Alright, so got some screws. Let's go ahead and put these in. Where I have this plan to be mounted, the fact that these things are sticking out the back isn't going to be an issue. Make sure everything lines up. There we go, that looks good. Crack open this bag of nuts here. Maybe. Man, they really put them in here. 2. Purposely got the locking nuts so that I don't have to worry about them vibrating out, just in case. Be a one and done type of thing. I don't want to have to go back and do maintenance on this stupid thing. Alright, that's good enough for now. It's not going anywhere. So next thing is we will mount this up. This is about center there. So let me go ahead and use my fancy marking tool. Oops. This. Go. All right, got another packet of screws here somewhere. Obviously it's not tightened all the way down, but that can be done later. Right now I'm just laying everything out. Put this down here, line this up with the edge. I'm only going to have to, these are all attached to one another, so I only have to mount 2 of these. Are you kidding me? Man, I got flies in the garage, it's driving me crazy. I don't know why I'm using this when I can easily, this isn't as deep, I can just use the marker. Go. And we'll line up this one the same. There's my wife texting me, she wants to go to the store. Alright, we'll drill 4 holes, at least then everything will be mounted. Alright. I know I got some more bolts somewhere around here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, here's number 4. Alright. Again, I'll tighten all this down here in a minute. Right now I'm just trying to get it bolted up. There we go. So I'll get that all tightened down and then we'll start with the wiring.
Well, it's a new day. I got interrupted in the middle of this project yesterday, so never got back to it. So we'll finish it up today. I'm gonna start by doing some wiring, which means I gotta get all these little zip ties off. Probably just start with one side at a time. Everything's been tightened up, so everything's firm on the board. It's not going anywhere. Alright, these are 5-wire relays. I'm not going to use all 5 wires. I only need 4 of them. So the center one is the one I'm not going to use. So those are all just going to get cut out. So that'll eliminate some of this confusion right off the bat. Alright, next we're going to get that power wire, which is going to be the red one. This is the one that's going to feed the signal, or I'm sorry, not the signal, the actual main power into whatever object it is that we're going to be running. So this will go straight to the fuse block, and then after it goes to the relay, it will come out the blue, which will then run down here to the terminal board. But we'll get to that in a second. Go ahead and start cutting up these wires. I'll leave a little bit of slack. How does this open? There we go. I'm going to go and trim all these, get that done real quick. The main thing on this is just keep everything organized. Once everything gets unorganized, this becomes much more of a difficult task than it has to be. That'll just slide in there. Tighten it up, and that's one. Now we're just going to do that 9 more times. Alright, so far so good. It still looks like I know what I'm doing. All the main powers are connected now to where they will have fuses. I should have explained, I guess, at the beginning, if you're not familiar with how this works. Main power is going to come in here, single cable, and a ground cable will be hooked up here. This one won't actually carry a load. This will just be to ground out the activation of the relays. The load will be grounded out somewhere on the chassis near the item that's being activated. So if it's the trans brake, the electric fan, whatever the case may be, that'll be grounded out near where that item is situated in the car. So now I'm going to work on the ground cables just to get them out of the way. Easily go ahead and do this just because of where they're located. I feel like it's probably going to be the easiest route. Then we'll get on to something else. So let's go ahead and start cutting all these. Trying to keep it looking somewhat organized. Can't connect that yet because it'll be in the way when I try to do these bottom ones, so I guess I should have started down there. I guess that's one design flaw of this particular fuse box, is that you can't really unscrew these bottom ones if there's something attached to the top. But let's hope I don't ever have to unhook any of this stuff, and hopefully it just stays working. Actually, I don't know why I put it there. Slide it over. Leave that one open for that last terminal or fuse relay. I don't even know. Whatever you want to call it, we'll leave it alone for now. Anyways, again, that's one. Let me do the other 9. Alright, now that all the grounds for the relays are connected, we can move on to the blue main power wire, and then the yellow, which is going to be the 12-volt input that activates the relay. So there's 2 ways of doing this. Some people will go side by side so that you have your main power and then the wire that triggers it right next to it. Other people will go all of the main powers on one side and then all of the yellows or all the triggers, however you want to word it, on the other side. So you see all these blues here, all these yellows here, and this probably looks a little bit nicer doing it that way. The problem with it, that in my mind, is that when you're wiring everything up, let's say I want to hook up the first relay. So I'm going to come over here to terminal number 1, and then I got to count 1, 2, 3, 4 until I get to 11 and go, okay, here's the trigger for it all the way over here. For me, it seems much simpler to put the power and then the trigger right next to each other. So that's how I'm going to do it. So you're going to see it basically alternating yellow, blue all the way down, rather than all the blues here, all the yellows there. Here again. The other nice thing about this project, as you make your progress, these wires start getting all nice and organized, and you don't have them all over the place like you saw at the very beginning of this. So it actually gets easier as you go. Alright, so that's how that's going to look and work. So let me go ahead and just fast forward through it, because I got a whole bunch more to do. Alright, so if you're somebody who's into symmetry, you're going to hate what I did, but it is what it is. It's already done. On this side, the relay at the top, the wire came straight down and ended over here, whereas in this case, the one that was nearest, the wires were run straight here. So if I was going to do it symmetrically, this one should have gone here. But honestly, my mentality when doing that was basically this is relay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you see it the same way down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through 10. So this was done intentionally to keep everything organized. I will eventually put, number these with like a white pen or something, 1 through 10, and then probably down here as well, just to make it easier to hook everything up. But like I said, I wanted just to straight across, just like that, nice and simple. Otherwise, it would have been 1 through 5 over here, and then 6 would have been here going this way to 10. So although it doesn't look as visually appealing this way, it's easier to wire. It's more organized, and it is what it is. So I still have a couple of ground terminals that are under here in case I decide to use these last 2 fuses that for something that doesn't necessarily need a relay. A lot of things don't need a relay. So for example, when I do finally wire up the rear brake lights, those don't need a relay. They're not going to use really anything for power drain. So they'll probably just get wired through this fuse, or, one of the 2 remaining fuses. Oops. Sorry, brain fart right there. So it'll get wired through one of the remaining fuses that doesn't necessarily have a relay attached to it. But professional looking relay and fuse panel, maybe $50 worth of parts, including, these were 20 bucks, this was 20 bucks. This you can get for a couple of bucks, but I got that for free. A friend had them, gave it to me. And then the terminal ends that you can't see right here out of frame. I think I showed it at the beginning of the video, but basically that was $10 online. So there's the 50 bucks. I guess if you want to nitpick on the dollar amount, I spent like $4 or $5 for some nuts and bolts to hold everything down. But so let's call it 60 bucks is what it's going to cost you to do something like this. Very easy to do, very simple to wire up. At this point, we're going to have 12 volts from the main battery right here at the top, and then at the bottom, this will just go to a chassis ground. And by going to ground here, every one of these relays is now grounded. So when I apply 12 volts to any one of these yellow wires, 12 volts directly through a fuse and through the relay will come out of the blue wire right next to it. So that's how that works. Very simple, very easy, very clean. The next thing is to get this in the car and actually start wiring it.